Let's talk about this one question. The difficulty of this question is not in the option, but in the core. But let's do it and look at a bit of exam technique at the same time. So the question says, state the distribution. Obviously, the optional topic has two extra distributions, the geometric and the negative binomial. So you should be on guard for those. They're likely to come up. But it's perfectly possible that this could be a Poisson binomial or normal, of course. But just by the nature of it, you can see that it's quite clearly a geo. X is a geo. This question is slightly ambiguous about, are you supposed to state the parameter here? Well, for only 1 mark, no. But clearly we have to calculate it, and this is the difficulty of the question. So how do you calculate it? There's 2 ways I'm going to show you how to approach probability questions off the core. This one is saying there are n, but that's too complicated for me, so I'm just going to start with 5. There are 5 players, and you keep repeating this game until 4 of them are showing one colour. Let's just say yes, no, 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 no. And the other one is on his own, and then you stop. So what's the probability of that happening? Well, there's 2 ways. You can take a counting approach or a probability approach. Let's do a counting approach. First of all, you say it's going to be a fraction. On the bottom is the total. What is the total number of yes, no, yes, no's? Well, there's 2 there, there's 2 there, there's 2 there, there's 2 there, so it's 2 to the 5. And then you say, what is the total number of ways you can do this and only have 1 yes? Well, it's clearly 5. And of course, you always have to worry about this in probability, that we're going to multiply that by 2 because it could be 4 yeses and 1 no. So that's the answer. Then you say, can I extend that into n instead of 5? If there were n, then there would still be n ways you could put that y in the list. And there would still be 2 to the power n. So I can easily extend it. But I did all the thinking in the world of 5. So that's that way of doing it. Alternatively, we do a probability approach. And that is to realize that it's a binomial. So it is 5, choose 1. How many successes do we want? How many failures do we want? So I'm overshowing working here. That's the probability of 1 yes and 4 no's. So I'm going to double that. And then can I extend it into n? Well, n choose 1, yes I can. And so that's how I would do it. Now this looks more complicated, but n choose 1 is of course just n. And I've got a lot of halves here, so that is 2n over 2 to the n. Yeah, and then I can cancel the 2's. So I get an answer there. But let's just do a bit of exam technique. Even if you don't get a full answer there, you must still find the expected value. Remember that expected value is on the very end of the formula book. Here's the geo. Don't forget these 2 things. A lot of students just forget that they're there, and negative binomial, geometric, and all the others are there. Although at the end of the formula book, it has these 2. So there's the mean, or expected value. So it is 1 over whatever p you put. So if you put an answer here, you'll get the mark as long as you simply put 1 over p. So the last question, x is a geo. We should write that out formally. They're talking about the probability that x is less than or equal to k, which we don't have a formula for. So that must be the probability that x is equal to 1 plus the probability that x is equal to 2 up to the probability that x is equal to k. And we're just simply going to fill that in. Well, off the formula book, I have the formula for the probability that x equals x. It doesn't say it here. This is the probability that x equals x, capital X equals little x, is this pq to the x minus 1. So this one here is pq to the x minus 1, n. Oh, except they've said that n is 7. So I can just simply put this one in as P Q to the K minus 1. And all the others are the same. So the probability of hitting it on the first go is just that. Probability of hitting success on the second go is that. So we've got to add this sequence up. And because it's a geo, you know it's going to be a geometric progression. GP A equals R equals N equals and you can just fill it in like that. So writing P and Q rather than 7/64, 1 minus Q is equal to P. So this number here has to be bigger than a half, and that's relatively easy to solve. Tough question.